ESPN 94.9, The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's Friday, and that's a good thing. In fact, it's a great thing. Looking forward to the weekend. Hope you are as well. I get the feeling, Billy, that more and more people scat out of work a little early.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Friday. I think more and more people may not be working.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of 5 o'clock anymore.
No, I think you're seeing more half days.
Did it look like in the podcast that I got two different pictures?
It did.
Yeah.
We're back now.
Neither one of them was all that good.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. It's not 30 degrees anymore, so that's good.
No, it is not. In fact, hold on, since you brought it up, listen to these highs. 51 tomorrow, 63 on Sunday, 68 on Monday, 65 on Tuesday, 71 on Wednesday, 71 on Thursday, 56 on Friday, 63 on Saturday, 58 on Sunday.
Thank goodness. We're gonna get one more cold snap in here.
Oh, we're not anywhere close.
But you can't predict Nashville weather. So.
No, but we are 54 days away from opening day in the bigs.
That
But
always
who's counting?
sneaks up.
Not on me, it doesn't.
If anybody, it's not sneaking up on you.
No. Mm-mm. So a lot of hockey going on in here today. We're at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, and there must be a big tournament going on. I see hundreds of parents, families watching their loved ones that way from where we are. And not many of them are from here.
Yeah, that's usually the case here. I
Yeah.
mean, people travel. There's a couple new hotels up here right around here too. This area of Bellevue has changed a lot.
Yeah. This
in a short
facility
amount of
has a
time.
lot to do with it.
Yeah.
So here's what we got today on the show. Mark Griffin is going to join us, and we'll get into a variety of things, including his beloved Vols, who feel like they're teetering right now. What are they? Where are they headed? What is really their ceiling? They were a number one team in the country in mid to late December. But at the moment, they're 4-4 in the SEC. Now, you could say, well, that's just the way it is in the SEC. And maybe that is the answer. But the Kentucky game Tuesday night was a little bit troubling.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Tennessee, when they can't put the ball in the basket, I mean, this is the case for everybody, but too many times they go on, those 4 or 5 minute scoring droughts and just miss every shot. So this is a big one for them tomorrow against Florida.
Yeah, Florida's no cupcake.
No, and they beat them by 30 last time out. So
Revenge. So do you have an update of some? Oh, I guess I need to go. Hold on a second. Nothing against Lori, but hold on a minute. After Mark, Sounds General Manager Adam English will join us. Tomorrow, the Sounds will have their second annual Sound Check Fan Fest. I went to it a year ago. If you're a baseball fan, it is well worth attending.
let's get into the update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. You can find her online at mortgageladyyusa.com or give her a call, 615-969-4350. Well, Michaela Blakes last night scored an SEC record 53 points to lead number 23 Vandy over Florida 99-86 last night. She had 16 field goals 16 free throws. It's the second most points by a freshman in Division I history, behind Delaware's Elena Deladon. She's the only Division I men's or women's player to score at least 50 points in a game this season. And she also tied the O'Connell Center's scoring record set by LSU's Mahmoud Abdul Rauf back in 1989.
Hold on a second. So, old Mahmoud, do you know what his first name was?
No.
Chris Jackson.
Man,
Chris
where did
Jackson
we get Mahmoud
became Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. Thank you.
Thank you for that. We needed that.
Absolutely. It'll wake everybody up. They were, when Chris Jackson was at LSU, they were loaded. Shaquille, Stanley Roberts, another 7-footer, and this awesome machine. And yet they really did not get done what a team of that ilk should have gotten done.
Either way, she was incredible last night. And I think she
53.
53. She set the Vandy women's single game scoring record, breaking Camille Pierre's previous high of 42 points just back on December 17th. So this is the best Lady Commodores team we've seen in a long time, like really long time.
53 would be a lot in the Green Hills Y 4-on-4 run and shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, 53 is a bunch.
Commodores host Ole Miss on Sunday at 2:00 at Memorial. We've got some lines trickling in for tomorrow's SEC action. I don't know why it takes.
Hold on. Don't let me see them. Let's have a little fun with them.
Okay.
You ready? This is some really high-tech stuff we're doing here. Go.
Tennessee and Florida.
Tennessee 4.5.
3.5.
Okay.
Mississippi State, Missouri.
In Columbia?
No.
Well, hold on. You've got to tell me so-and-so at so-and-so.
Missouri at Mississippi State.
Thank you. Mississippi State 7.
5.5.
Okay.
Auburn at Ole Miss.
Auburn 3.5.
5.5. Oklahoma hosting Vandy.
Oklahoma 2.5.
3.5.
Okay.
Alabama hosting Georgia.
Alabama 10.5.
12.5.
Okay.
Texas A&M at South Carolina.
A&M 4.
5.5.
Okay. They seem stuck on that number.
They do. And then why are they all hooks, by the way? Why do they?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
Kentucky hosting Arkansas.
Kentucky 11.
11.5.
If I do say so, I was all over those.
You're a couple off.
Oh, don't give me no. Don't give me that.
Why?
I was right on them.
I mean, so how
Pretty
many?
proud of it, too.
What are you doing?
Well, I was trying to hit something, and it didn't work.
Turn your phone down.
Shut up.
So those are the lines tomorrow in the SEC. Really good slate. I mean, we say that every weekend, but I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3 ranked matchups.
Okay, so let's say this. Your two marquees are Arkansas at Kentucky because of Calipari and the Florida-Tennessee game early. Those are your two biggies.
Yeah. But, you could sit here from 11 to 8 and you'd be satisfied probably with what you watched. There's really not many blowouts in the SEC, especially later in the season you get. So that's what we got tomorrow. Also, a Tennessee piece from earlier today. Some major renovations are coming to Thompson Bowling Arena. I told you to turn your volume down.
Just relax.
That's a second offense.
Well, you know what? What are you going to do, fire me?
I might.
Well, that's great. See how next Friday works out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what we got in TBA. coming up. They're basically modernizing the Jumbotron, and they're putting more of an emphasis on Food City, which is providing the funds for this facility. And I mean,
Food City. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. In Animal House, it was Food King. Food King was where they went and shoplifted.
Food King.
Yeah, let's go. Food King, Food King.
I've seen bits and pieces. I need to sit down and see that whole thing.
That's a great movie. It's one of the absolute classics, along with Dr. Zhivago and Ferris Bueller.
A new Jumbotron, new courtside club option, new NBA level video boards in the corners, a new 360-degree LED ribbon, and a new sound system. Over $20 million will go into the arena over the next 10 years. I feel like that's, if you're looking ideally at how to renovate an arena or a stadium, I feel like Tennessee, every couple years, they'll do some small changes like this.
Yeah, they've probably been able to get ahead of the curve better than some schools. But
they didn't, I mean, their biggest overhaul or, biggest job has been obviously the baseball, but, they've been doing these small things, over the course of the last 20 years.
The baseball for a while was a disgrace. The where they let that get look, it's a lot easier to do renovating when you've got a big old fan base and you got 100,000 seat stadium that you're filling. It just is.
It just is.
Now, in the NIL world, you like, for instance, Arkansas right now wants to renovate Bud Walton. I have not been in Bud Walton in 30 years. Back when I did a game at Bud Walton, it was great, but I'm sure 30 years later it's showing its age. But they made the decision that in this day and time of NIL, we can't do it.
Yeah.
We cannot in good conscience put a bunch of money into that when what we're really trying to do is, pay our athletes.
Well, what you're seeing too is it's pretty easy to look at an athletic department, whether it's in the SEC or across the country, and say, here's where they're allocating their funds. We talked about Penn State, for example, yesterday. Almost all of their funds are going to football. You don't ever hear about their basketball program or their baseball program. As is the case for probably a lot of Big Ten schools.
Right.
They focus on one sport.
But that's part of the reason why when I took them last night, they got beat at home by 21.
Yes.
No.
How'd you like that?
I didn't like it.
For Mississippi State, baseball, right? Baseball's king.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's as one-sided as the Penn State example you're throwing out there.
But you see what I'm saying? You can look at a department and be able to tell.
Yeah, in some cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you've got other schools that have boatloads of money, and they're doing pretty well across the board. But that's what you got in Knoxville at TBA. NFL news. This season, the NFL recorded its fewest number of concussions since it began tracking the data in 2015. The total of 182 concussions during games and practices in both the preseason and regular season represented a 17% drop from a couple of years ago.
Okay, and there's skepticism about the numbers. There are a lot of people out there that are questioning the numbers. So with that in mind, at some point, probably late next week, former Titans strength and conditioning coach Steve Watterson will join us. Nobody knows this stuff better than he does. If you have never heard Steve Watterson before, man, you have missed something. You talk about, number one, first of all, very talented at what he does and what he did. And secondly, did it with a sense of humor. If you want to look back on reasons why the Titans were successful when they first got to town, how did they make a run to the Super Bowl in the first year of Nissan Stadium? An underrated part of that was Jeff Fisher allowing Steve Watterson some of the hijinks that he did. It kept for a very loose clubhouse.
The hijinks?
Oh, my God. So, Billy, back when we would do the John McClain dinners for the Charles Davis Foundation, and I really didn't know this going in. I want to say the first year, Jeff, the night that he did, Jeff brought Steve Watterson with him and turned him loose to talk about pranks and bed checks.
Oh, gosh.
It was hilarious. So anytime Steve Watterson was on one of those panels, it was going to be a great night, period.
Well, the kickoff has obviously aided that, you would imagine. And then the Guardian caps as well. You've also got that. So.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to ask him is, okay, what he told me today is he feels pretty confident that, the new kickoff rule is working. But there's a lot of skepticism about the numbers, which is why I called him to say, hey, sometime next week, would you come on and talk to us? And I was thrilled when he said yes.
Well, there's not a ton of skepticism in who might win the Heisman next year. According to ESPN Bet, Arch Manning has opened as the favorite to win the 2025 Heisman Trophy at plus 750.
They need to pump the brakes.
What do you mean?
What do we know at this point?
It's Arch Manning.
Yeah, but that doesn't, does it guarantee it?
He's on a pretty damn good team.
Oh, I know he's on a pretty darn good team. I'm not questioning whether he might be, because there are things about his family that suggest that he's probably going to be really good. But to just open him as the favorite, they need to pump the brakes a little bit.
Well, you got Garrett Nussmeier in second. Nico, which, he's really good, but, you've also got Cade Klubnik, Drew Aller right there. It's going to be an interesting race. A lot of guys.
Let's put it this way. Some of those guys, Billy, weren't all that good this year.
Klubnik improved. Aller was a little shaky at times, but
Nico
good.
Was sort of.
Nico.
Yeah,
we'll see. Jeremiah Smith, you would guess, is up there too. First receiver in a long time to win it. Preds, back in action tonight, 6:00, about an hour off. We hop off the air. They are in Buffalo to play the Sabres. And that's what we got.
Yep, go back. You didn't give me, in your list of games, LSU's somewhere.
Yeah, there was not a bet of a line available.
Okay. So I got to think through those because we may add a couple at the end. Plaster bet of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on
this. Which right
this.
now is in a little mini slump. Kelly Holcomb will return on Monday. We look forward to that. Mark Griffin may be a minute or two late, more like about 3:25. We'll go ahead and go to the break and say at some point pretty quickly when we come back, Mark Griffin will join us. This is 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Happy game day, Preds fans. The Predators are in Buffalo tonight facing the Sabres. The game is tonight at 6 with Pete Weber and Hal Gill on the call in Pete's beloved Buffalo. Pre-game coverage starts at 5.
Smashville lives here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, I'm in a four-corner stall. We knew Mark Griffin would be a couple of minutes late. So here's a heartwarming story. The Detroit Pistons tonight will have Isaiah Stewart bobblehead night.
Okay.
By the way, I've had a bobblehead night.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I wonder if anybody's still got those things. 2006. There's just one problem on this particular bobblehead night. The person that is being honored, Isaiah Stewart, will be sitting out the game due to suspension. So listen to this one. The Pistons told TMZ Sports. Does anybody know anybody that works at TMZ Sports?
No.
It's just this nebulous TMZ. And when you hear TMZ, you're, oh, crap. The Pistons told TMZ Sports they plan to go through with the giveaway as the promotional schedule is locked in once the schedule is released.
That's pretty funny. I mean, hopefully he gets whatever he's got going on figured out. But why'd they suspend him?
Okay, hold on. I need to get to that because I didn't explain that very well. He's been suspended one game without pay for picking up his 6th flagrant foul point of the season. He received a flagrant foul 2. I mean, 2 is just the side of a mugging, and was ejected with 8:45 remaining in the second quarter of the Pistons' loss to the Indiana Pacers. So that's that. I see Mark Griffin is ready and raring to go. Look at him getting himself prepared.
Woo!
What was the problem?
It's called interstate traffic, George. Sorry about that. You can dock me and pay. I get it. I apologize.
Nah.
The good thing is I'm prepared. So
okay. So you ready?
Ready? Let's do it.
Okay. Let me ask this right up front. Were you in Knoxville Tuesday night?
Yes.
At the Kentucky game?
Yeah, I was trying to forget about that game, but yes, I was there, George.
Okay. Here's my theory. Tennessee unloaded every barrel humanly possible in the name of winning at Auburn, including engaging Auburn in sumo wrestling. By the way, the officials let that get way out of control. Okay. So they unload all the barrels. And in truth, they came closer than I've thought any team could come at Auburn. Yeah. They are within a 3-point field goal of beating Auburn down at Auburn. The problem is that they didn't have a lot of time after that. They fly home late Saturday night. They got a little bit of Sunday. They got Monday, and boom. Who they needed to play Tuesday was South Carolina. Where it would not require full emotional gas tank. And instead they got a pissed off Kentucky who had come out of Nashville losing. They were snorting. They were well coached, and we know the rest. Do you like that theory at all?
Welcome to the SEC, George. It's a gauntlet. I mean, I can't make excuses for the Vols other than when I was on your show last week, we talked about how do you defend Kentucky. And obviously, Coach Barnes knows tons more about basketball than any of us listening and on here combined. The way to guard them is you've got to come out and play their shooters. You cannot let them get open shots. If Kentucky's going to have any, let's say, weakness or downside, it's going to be inside. And that's not knocking their bigs, but you just can't leave them open for shots. And I don't know the exact number of three-pointers that Kentucky hit. I did look up at the stat board when they were 6 of 9 in the first half, and I just shook my head because it seemed like every three-point shot they took went in. And it was during a good span of playing defense. It was within the last 6 seconds of the shot clock most of the time, George. So good defense, but they would get a really good screen, like a flare screen where someone could just back off the big guy and then load up for their shots, and they just seemed to knock them down. And it just, you could feel the fans and even myself were just deflated because they really took control of the atmosphere and just dominated from the beginning. And it was like, okay, 40-minute game, but just kept hitting big shots. And Tennessee just couldn't overcome that.
Mark, I didn't get to see all of it, so let me sort of say that up front. I saw the end of it, the last, 6-8 minutes of it. And I made the comment the next day that not that Rick Barnes needs any of my coaching philosophies, but if I were the head coach, I think I would have told those kids, listen, don't come back until Friday. Get away from this for 48 hours, and we'll regroup on Friday. Do you think that's a proper thing at that point?
I think it can be very effective, and I have seen and heard, George, many programs that will take some time off during a tough loss or span of losses just for people to get their legs, to get their mind right, maybe come in during this so-called off day and just get up some shots. Some programs will just tell you stay away from the basketball altogether. Just focus on your academics, whatever personal business you got to take care of. Not a bad idea. It's amazing because, and it seems like it's just so simple to stop guys from scoring when you're playing defense, score baskets on offense, simple game. But it's so much more mentally enormous as far as what's involved to look long term, that coaches will pretty much try anything they can to get a competitive edge for long term. And even short term, looking at tomorrow, it doesn't get any easier with Florida coming into town. I mean, you don't think they're thinking about that 30-point loss and one of the worst shooting performances since Coach Barnes has been here. I know we'll talk about that. But you try to get some sort of mental break wherever you can, however you can.
Okay, so let me try this one. Kentucky clearly had a scouting report that sort of said, listen, here are a couple of guys. If they beat us, so be it. More power to them. But we don't believe they can. And on that particular night, everything that Mark Pope tried to do turned up roses. Now, you know other teams are going to look at that and say, aha, okay. So what is it Tennessee can do right now as they're struggling offensively in the half court? Where is it that they're going to solve the things that Pope brought to the table?
Well, just to give examples of what Pope did a very effective job, when you look at a big man who's setting a screen, like for Tennessee for example, when you set a screen for a three-point shot, you're coming from the baseline. You've got defenders that will go what's called over the top, which will kind of deny your three-point shooter and make him put it on the floor and drive. Or you have the philosophy where you go under, which means you go up to the big guy, you meet the big guy, you're pretty much double teaming the big guy, and the three-point shooter is able to take a shot, but they can't, but you eliminate the drive. Because when you can drive, you can kick to an open shooter. So you have those two philosophies. You go over the screen or under the screen. Well, what I saw that Mark Pope did a very effective job, it seemed like with every shooter other than Chaz Lanier went under the screen, said, look, we're going to give you this three-point shot because we don't think you can hit it. And he was effective in that philosophy. And I don't have the stats in front of me as far as how badly UT shot. I do feel that UT shot a lot more three-pointers than they wanted to. I don't think that was their game plan at all. And the percentage was very low. To alter that or to change that for Tennessee's sake, George, there's always been a philosophy with coaches and teams that when your shot's not falling, yes, you can say keep shooting. But what you've got to do is really set really good screens, multiple screens, and get drives to the basket. If you get to the basket, it's an easy cure. It's called shooting free throws. And it's long-term philosophy when someone's not having one of their better nights. If you can go to the free throw line, chalk down a couple of free throws one after another, then you get back in that groove. And it helps at the end of the half when the opposing team's in foul trouble, and it definitely helps at the end of the game when an opposing team is in foul trouble.
Mark, when they were ranked number one in the country, and I think this goes back to a year ago, there was a little bit of an intimidation factor of having to play Tennessee. Great athletes, great offense, a lot of stuff really going on. It feels like some of that has eroded here in recent weeks with the losses. Here's what I want to know. I know off what I saw Saturday night that when they play their A game, and they were at an A game Saturday night, that there's some real sky is the limit in them. But on the flip side is this other side of them. So let me ask it this way. At the moment, What do you think their ceiling is?
Wow. Well, if the defense is steady, and the defense has been steady, even in the losses, they're fourth in the nation, giving up under 60 points a game. That's steady, George, throughout the season. I see that being the common denominator. You're going to see opposing teams are not going to be averaging in the upper 80s against Tennessee for the most part. When you ask your question, the ceiling, and you can say this about most programs, how are they going to shoot? You can't afford to have games where you're shooting in the 30% range overall and not have someone step it up and have a big night. Everyone's leaning on Chaz Lanier. Sure. We've talked about it. Everyone that's watched Tennessee now knows if someone's going to beat you, don't let him beat you. And he did not put up a lot of points against Kentucky. Actually didn't get a lot of shots off. So someone's got to step it up. Zakai, everyone loves Zakai Ziegler, but he is having his struggles as far as field goal shooting this season. I think it's his worst shooting season that he's had since he's been at Tennessee. Now, can he fix that? Yes. I think it starts with him. Also, it's going to go back to Gainey being more consistent. They're pretty much now, George, changed their philosophy on Meshack, where at the beginning of the season, he was putting up 3 or 4 3-pointers. Now he's not even looking at them. So you can just drop off him. I mean, that's what I would do. Just drop, say, look, shoot it. You'd rather risk him shooting than Zakai or Lanier or even Gainey. So opponents have their chances now to kind of pick their poison, and DeBar, as much as he's played, hasn't been consistent with the three. So for me, ceiling goes back to how do they shoot the three? And this team reminds me, just to add on, if you go back to Coach Pearl's team, not the year they went to the Final Four, but, he's had a couple of very strong teams. He had one team, George, they lived and died shooting 3-pointers. And that one year, and I don't know the exact year, they died because they didn't shoot the 3-pointer well during the tournament. And I hope that's not the case for UT, but I'm afraid that's what's going to be, because Tennessee doesn't have the interior power scores that are going to be consistent compared to what they have guard-wise. When Estrella got hurt, big loss, but you got to deal with it. You got to move on. Next man up mentality.
Okay.
And we just got to rely on a lot of guards, George.
Stop there. We're going to go to the break, and then a few thoughts about the SEC and how you maneuver through these landmines that this league now is. This is 94.9, The Fan. This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com. Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancos Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancos to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancos Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancosbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
University started Mark Griffin alongside for the ride home. So, Mark, I've come to a new theory that's basically a football theory that now I'm being forced into in basketball as well. And that is, more than ever in the history of SEC basketball, scheduling luck once you get to the conference is becoming vital. And let me tell you where I'm going with that. Vandy at the moment is the media darling, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
As good as they've been in wins against Kentucky and Tennessee, the truth of the matter is that probably the biggest thing was a night where they really didn't play worth a damn. And yet they were at home, and it was against South Carolina, who's not very good. They won on the final possession of the game, and that was a time where they needed a South Carolina. And, you know, the scheduling gods were with them that night. If Tennessee had gotten South Carolina 2 nights ago, that had probably worked out good. But instead, it was a real live wire at Auburn, Kentucky, which clearly is a live wire, and now Florida, which is clearly a live wire.
Well, I got one for you, and I don't know if you've discussed this, but this year, each team, I don't know if it's 1 week or 2 weeks out of the SEC season, has that midweek game off.
Right.
Tuesday or Wednesday game. Well, ironically, last week, Auburn was off midweek against Tennessee. This week, guess who's off? Florida. Florida.
Well, no, hold on. Vandy didn't play Tuesday or Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Well, then Florida this week. So you've got multiple matchups that Tennessee's facing going, hey, every team, the last several teams we played didn't even play midweek. Now, is that an advantage or a disadvantage? It does give the coaching staff more time to scout. And for those who don't follow normal practice days for these universities, you've got a week to plan for a team. Then you're spending a lot more time on the floor with guys in their designated jerseys, and you're playing the opponent's point guard or whatever position, and you're really locked in versus having to go against two opponents for a week.
Okay, I want to shift to Vandy for a second and see what you think. In the next 6 games, at Oklahoma, at Florida, home against Texas, home against Auburn, at Tennessee, at Kentucky. I know people are not going to want to hear this, but would you take 2 out of 6 and never play it?
When I was counting wins or losses when you were going through, and I came up with 2 and 4. If they could come out 3 and 3, I think that'll be incredible. I'll take it. 3 and 3, and against those teams, yes.
Because to me, the only thing that would change my feeling is if they go to Oklahoma tomorrow and win, which is entirely possible.
Oh, no doubt.
I'm not just, Oklahoma. Man, they're God's gift. I don't think they are.
I'm not as big on Oklahoma. It's interesting. Of course, I said the same thing about Missouri. Look where they are. So what do I know? But Oklahoma, I saw as far as the bracketology being, I think one of the last teams in. I just don't see it. I don't see it. But once again, what do I know, George? But more than the eye test, I've watched a lot of games like you. But this is definitely a winnable game for Vanderbilt and a key game moving forward, especially as you mentioned the next 5 opponents afterwards. For Vanderbilt and their staff and fans have got to be real excited to be able to go on the road and play a team such as Oklahoma with a great opportunity to come out with a win. Give them great momentum going into these other games, George.
Billy, would you like to say hello to Mark?
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Billy.
So tomorrow's action, we talked about it with Coach Cal coming back to Rupp Arena. In your mind, are Kentucky fans, how are they going to feel about this? I mean, we're going to hear some boos, but do you think Coach Cal deserves the respect of Kentucky fans tomorrow night in that arena?
I do. I regardless of how things ended, there was a long marriage there, and Coach Cal had some great accomplishments at Kentucky, got him a national championship. And George, you know, I'm an awful historian. I don't know if it was 2016, but they did win a national championship.
It was 12, wasn't it?
12. Okay. Well, I think it was down in New Orleans. I was actually there. Whatever year they were down in New Orleans. Okay. Maybe it was 12. But they've won a championship, have had some great wins. Now, people look here lately what he's done, sure. But I think that anytime you come back to where you spent your time coaching or playing, regardless of where you go afterwards, I think you deserve the respect to be applauded. There will be people that will boo him, but that's just Coach Cal. I think that actually inspires him. I don't think he really cares. I don't think he cares. He may say all the right things, but I really don't think he cares if they boo him or not. I think he's going to get a good reception. Personally, I think he should. I know Pitino was politicking for him. If you saw that on social media, but
whatever. Larry Bird is not walking through that door.
Yeah. So, but I do think that the fans should show mercy and welcome him. And they definitely should welcome him by spanking Arkansas tomorrow as well, because that could get very ugly. And that's one way. If you want to show respect towards a coach, now that you've got Mark Pope, then for the players to be extra motivated. I don't really believe in that. How are you extra motivated? You either are or you aren't. But if Kentucky go out and have a big win, let the players go out and do their thing.
Well, I think this could be a mental test for Kentucky's players. I mean, if they lose tomorrow night, look out. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to get ugly or anything, but it's not going to be pretty in that arena. And you've got some former Kentucky players on this Arkansas team: Adu Fierro, Big Z, DJ Wagner. Is there any? I mean, do you give Arkansas any hope tomorrow night?
I'd like to say no, but they did come up pretty well not long ago. I think they've only won one game in the conference.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting for the players because what's their psyche that those that you mentioned that played at Kentucky that has moved on with Coach Cal to another program. How's it going to be for the Kentucky players to go against guys that they replaced? Because if you think about it, some of those guys wouldn't be there if they didn't move on to Arkansas. So that gave them an opportunity to come and wear the big blue. And that's a motivating factor as well. You want to prove to guys that left the program that maybe you shouldn't have left the program, and I'm here and I'm going to take over and we're going to win our way.
Can Missouri beat Mississippi State tomorrow, Mark?
At Mississippi State?
Yep.
I don't think that's one I'm going all in on Mississippi State. But once again, biggest surprise team in the conference, guys, by far is Missouri. On the upside, downside is Arkansas. Mississippi State, those guys grind. I mean, grind. When I've talked about Josh Hubbard so much with his 30-plus inch vertical, and the guy's probably 5'8", and he's going to get up shots. But they just play so well as a unit. And at home, I just think that's going to be a tough game for Missouri. But if Missouri does capture a win tomorrow, then they're going to get more national attention, because when you go on the road and win at the hump, then you deserve more attention nationally, and definitely within the conference. People aren't going to say, Missouri's been lucking out, compared to what they did last year. If you think about it, this is what is amazing about sports. Dennis Gates last year at Missouri won 0 conference games, 0. Now they're top 20 this year with a few critical transfers. That's how quick you can turn it around in basketball.
Well, I asked this yesterday to the insiders, Coach B and Lee Fowler. I said, who's better in your mind, Auburn or Alabama? And first instinct from a lot of people is, it's Auburn. They're number 1 in the country. They're tops in the SEC. How far is that gap if you do think, that's a wide margin between Auburn and Alabama?
Personally, I think Auburn is heads above everyone in the conference, even Alabama. Now, it's funny, I had a friend of mine comment to me recently, like, why isn't Alabama getting more attention? They're not far off. They're second in the conference, 7-1, number 1 seed as far as bracketology, and no one besides people that are Alabama fans are really talking about what a great job Alabama's done. I think because we're all amazed, we're enamored with Coach Pearl and what he's done at Auburn. For Jahani Broome to be out the short time that he was, and for the rest of the team to pick up the slack, the depth that Auburn has, the style of play, the great free throw shooting, which was noted on the network that I mentioned on the show last week, with their 4 guards averaging over 90% from the free throw line. That wins you games in close games, guys. That wins you ball games. With that said, that's why I put Auburn heads above Alabama, because of what they can do at the free throw line, not just home, but away.
But let me ask this question as we go to the break. Did Tennessee expose a week ago at Auburn they're human, they can be had?
Well, yes, because any team can be beaten, and Tennessee did push them to the limit. I'm sorry.
Nobody thought they could be beat at home, including me.
No, but one thing: if you're going to beat Auburn, you can't get up and down the court with them. See, Tennessee slowed the pace. If you slow the pace and you can get that game in the 60s, I think you've got a shot to beat Auburn, because remember, they want to get up and down the court. They want to run new bodies in the game. When you've got a slow-paced game, it changes everything. It does. It changes your coaching philosophy. It changes your substitution pattern. It changes how often you get to the free throw line because, let's face it, there's less opportunity that you're going to get fouled. So it's just a different style of game. And it's interesting because you look at some of these teams in the NCAA tournament with upsets, and you always go back to what? Matchups. Well, could there be a matchup that's going to favor a team that's going to slow down the pace, that maybe plays that way, possession basketball, if you want to call it? There's always that fear. Now, one thing Auburn has for them is that they've experienced going against Tennessee in a slow tempo and came out on top. That's only going to build their confidence moving forward when they're in another slow-paced game. So it'll be interesting, but I'm just really big on Auburn. Now, will they go undefeated? I don't think they will. They're going to have bad shooting nights, but to me, they're just way ahead of everybody else.
Way ahead of Bama?
I think so, George.
Wow.
That's from what I've seen on TV. That's where I'm going.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. After the break, we'll begin with stat of the day, but then I would like to open the phones. Y'all were quiet on this a week ago. I want some phone calls for Mark at 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. Go ahead and hit the phones. I want some phone calls for Mark. He's good. I want to take advantage of that. And Billy, how would a person non-telephonically get a hold of Mark?
Well, we can't forget about we can't forget about Mark's graphics either coming up.
I'm aware of that.
The MIT as well as especially an SEC player who's been really good. So we'll get into that. But chat room's open on YouTube. You can chime in there, ask your question. We'll get them to Mark also on Twitter and Facebook. So we'd love to hear from you.
If you don't call, we will send Gruff Dog to your home. You don't want that. This is 94.9, The Fan.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
The George Plaster Show gets advertisers the results they're looking for. For example, here's Metro Nashville police officer Garen Hoskins.
You hear me all the time on the show talk about, changes in career and people looking to serve their community and get into law enforcement and join a great department. And I just so happened to meet an individual who heard my segment on your show and has already applied, has come from multiple different career paths and has always had this dream. And we're very glad to have him. And that's just going to be the start of many.
If you want to be part of the Plaster Show advertising family, it's simple. Just email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We will fit your budget and your needs. Here's Metro Nashville police officer Garen Hoskins.
You hear me all the time on the show talk about changes in career, people looking to serve their community and get into law enforcement and join a great department. And I just so happened to meet an individual who heard my segment on your show, has already applied, has come from multiple different career paths, and has always had this dream. And we're very glad to have him. That's just going to be the start of many.
If you want to be part of the Plaster Show advertising family, it's simple. Just email me, plastergeorge@gmail.com. Again, plastergeorge@gmail.com. We will fit your budget and your needs.
This week's Nashville's best deal is Single Tree Barbecue at 2805 Old Fort Parkway in Murfreesboro. Single Tree Barbecue is a local veteran-owned and operated business. They only serve world-class barbecue with the perfect combinations of sides and desserts. If you're looking for the best barbecue around, smoked by some great all-American people, then you've got to check out Single Tree Barbecue. Right now, get half off a $25 gift card at 949thefan.com/deals.
We are a proud sponsor of the 19th Annual Father and Son Bowl on February 8th. This flag football event is a fun day of football for fathers and sons ages 5 and older. You don't have to be athletic or in shape. It's all about having big fun. There's going to be a skill zone, tailgate zone, door prizes, and more. And a portion of the proceeds benefit fatherless children. This event sells out every year, so register now. FatherSonBowl.com. That's FatherSonBowl.com.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We're talking more college basketball with Mark Griffin coming up. But first, stat of the day brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to applecollisioncenters.com. All right, here we go. We're going a little NBA today. With Cade Cunningham being named an All-Star reserve, the Pistons finally have an All-Star player. Who was the last All-Star from the Pistons?
It's good to have Mark with us. Let's put this in his lap.
Oh, gosh.
Who was the last All-Star from the Pistons? Well, we can't go back as far as Isaiah Thomas or Rick Mahorn or Bill Laimbeer. I don't think we can go that far back. How far back can we go?
It's fairly recent.
It's fairly recent.
I don't have a clue. I don't even watch the Pistons, so.
You know, right now they'd make the playoffs.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Billy, lay it on us.
It is Blake Griffin.
Oh, wow. I should have gotten that.
It's pretty good.
Shame on
he
me.
was on the Pistons.
Yeah. Wow.
That was when he could still jump out of the gym.
When he wasn't jumping over cars. Remember he did that one
That's right.
dunk contest or something?
Yeah.
Big promotion.
Yeah, he's rookie of the year, I think, with the Clippers, and slipped a little bit and then went to Detroit and found himself a little bit.
I saw him play in the NCAA tournament as an Oklahoma Sooner.
I did too in Memphis. Were you there?
I sure was.
I was there.
Okay, we welcome all of you officially into the 4 o'clock hour from the Fordyce Center. George Plaster, Billy Derrick, former University of Tennessee star Mark Griffin. Kelly Holcomb will rejoin us on Monday. Let's take a phone call first. Clay in Nashville, welcome.
Not getting Clay.
Hello, Clay.
Hey, hang on a second.
Go ahead. Okay, I know there's a human being there. Clay, if you're there, talk.
You got me, George?
Got you, go.
Got me? Thanks. Hello, Mark. How you doing?
Hey, Clay.
Mark, I wanted to go in a different direction. I'm a Vandy fan, but also follow Carolina basketball. There's starting to become a lot of talk about Hubert Davis's status at North Carolina. And I watched the Pitt game the other night. And North Carolina scores 44 points in the first half and 21 in the second half. And there's a lot of talk saying that the players aren't listening to him, that, you know, they continue to make the same mistakes, and Hubert is addressing these things in practice, and it's not getting better. So my question is, you know, North Carolina is North Carolina, 5 national championships. In my opinion, when a first-year coach comes in and he goes to the championship game as an 8 seed, so that's kind of a little bit of a unexpected run. There's really, in some ways, there's nowhere to go but down because you've already set the bar way high. So they have a terrible year the next year. Caleb Love, from what I hear, caused some problems off the court, things like that, kind of a cancer on the team.
Yep.
They go to the Sweet 16 last year, lose to a good Alabama team, though. And, you know, kind of riding right on the fence so far this year with Duke on the horizon. Is Hubert Davis in trouble? Is his seat hot at all? I just was wondering about that. If y'all could talk about that, I appreciate it. I'll listen off air.
Well, Clay, if it's hot, I haven't heard it, George or Billy, but what should be hot was lack of recruiting a big guy. I mean, when I look at North Carolina, they've got great guards, but they have no inside presence. No disrespect to the guys that are on the floor, the ones that are trying to get minutes. But where North Carolina is being beat down is on the inside. And once again, defenses have learned if you spread your defense and don't allow North Carolina to get open 3-point shots, they don't have anywhere to go with the ball. So that's what I've witnessed. What about you guys?
I do think he's in trouble because I don't see North Carolina putting up with this for very long. Was it Jay Williams Wednesday night on the telecast really ripped into North Carolina, the coaching staff? They're not playing very hard, really kind of undressed them on national TV. Now,
he probably enjoyed that too, being a Duke grad. So.
He probably did. In fairness, there were 2 taller recruits, Cade Tyson from Belmont, who for whatever reason, it hadn't worked out there, and Vin Allen Lubin from Vandy. If that's all you got, why is that all you got? I mean, Mark, that's a school that ought to be able to select, and that does make Hubert Davis look bad.
And on top of that, for those people that don't follow Lubin, I get that right? Just last name Lubin. Yeah. He was probably Vanderbilt's one of their most improved players throughout the season last year. And for him to be stagnant or not be as effective and go south makes you wonder about the development of the program, because we saw firsthand how well he played, and then to go to North Carolina and you're barely on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wonder where, I mean, how restless does their fan base
Very.
Very.
Let me put it this way.
As they've earned too, though.
If they get, first of all, they play Duke tomorrow night early. Exactly how is Carolina going to guard Cooper Flagg?
How's anybody?
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, Cooper Flagg's a stud.
You're not.
But he's, what is he, 6'8", 6'9"? Carolina's got nobody that can get up to his armpits. So let me put it this way. If you want to accelerate that talk, let Duke beat them tomorrow night at Cameron by about 20.
Yeah.
That'll accelerate it.
Yeah. And then not make the tournament, that'll accelerate it as well. Because that's what they're facing right now. They're borderline.
Yeah, at best right now. I mean, if you were to compare Vandy, North Carolina.
Oh,
Vandy's quite a bit better resume-wise today. Now, check it 3 weeks from now. Who knows?
Yeah.
Billy, you got one before. Well, okay, let's take a couple more here. Tony in Nolensville, give me a couple 3 minutes with Mark Griffin.
Hello, guys. Hello, Mark. Good talking to you again.
Hey, Tony.
The SEC is just showing they're muscling up and showing that it just means more right now with the rankings. And you've got, I think, is it 13 teams with 15 wins, something of that nature. Guys, I think when the SEC ACC challenge took place and they went 14-2, the SEC, don't you think that really exposed everybody about how strong this conference is going to be this year? And at the same time, I think that also showed that, it was as premier as it was, that it was, going to make a run. And when the brackets come out, if as many teams get in it, we're going to have a lot of SEC playing SEC probably in the second or third round. I'm going to hang it up, George, let you guys talk about that. Thank you for taking the call. Bye-bye.
Thank you. He's right about that.
Yeah. That'd be fun. I mean, it's changing times. I mean, George, we're a little older than Billy. We remember those days. ACC was king.
Everybody.
Yeah. ACC was king. You talk basketball, it was ACC. And now to look at the ACC and I mean, how many teams are being projected to go to the tournament as of today? Maybe 3, 4. I can't even name many. I know you got Duke and you've got maybe Wake Forest. What programs am I missing, George?
Louisville, maybe.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Louisville.
Yeah, but that's
got a few.
Yeah.
But see, I still have Louisville back in the Metro. I'm still stuck in the 80s.
Oh, that was my old Metro. Memphis State, Louisville,
Cincinnati,
Florida State, Cincinnati, Southern Miss, Virginia Tech. It was a pretty good basketball league.
Yeah.
Stan on line 3. Give me a couple of minutes with Mark Griffin.
Hey, thanks, guys. I really enjoy the show. This is a good segment on the show. I want to go back, Mark, to that, what you were saying about Alabama and Auburn, the free throw shooting. So when Auburn comes to Alabama this year, and if that game is played like the Auburn-Tennessee game is, you still think Auburn pulls it out at the end?
Wow.
I
looked, it's funny. It's funny. I'm glad you called, Stan. I looked during the break at Auburn's schedule, and I didn't realize that Auburn, they're playing Alabama twice. At Alabama, I think the 15th, and then they finish up their season. Last game, I think it's the 8th at Auburn. I don't think Auburn's going to be undefeated, and one team that I think they're more susceptible to lose to is Alabama. So to answer your question, if they played like they did against Tennessee in Tuscaloosa, I think Auburn loses. So I will mention that. I don't think they're going to win every game. I think it's going to be a dogfight, and it's must-see TV for not just the state of Alabama, the Iron Bowl of basketball, but for the nation to watch this game, because it's just going to be a fight. That's one I think that Auburn could lose and would lose if they played like they did against UT. Yes.
Billy, give me the graphics that Mark put together. Stan, anything else on your end? He may be gone.
He may be satisfied.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Okay, Billy, what do you got there that Mark put together?
Most important transfer comes from the Gators. What do you got, Mark?
Well, each week I put together this segment looking at not what most people will look at would be the leading scorer, maybe just focusing on the head coach. But when you look at the way we are in sports and with the transfer portal, how one player even can turn a program around. We talk about Dalton Connect ad nauseum, but look at Florida and with the addition of Elijah Martin from FAU, averaging 16 points a game, a defensive stopper. This is something that Florida didn't have last year, guys. And I really do think he doesn't get enough credit. Now, you'll hear people talk about him tomorrow, yes. But he deserves so much more credit for what he's done defensively on top of what he's done offensively. He's been so steady as a basketball player for Florida. And he's for those who follow Jemai Mashak, I mean, he's Florida's version, and he may be the best defensive player in the conference. Now, Tennessee fans should remember him because back in 2024, I think it was, guys, FAU went to the Final Four. Well, he was a part of that team. He's been all-conference second team. He was all-conference first team a year before that. What people don't know, he was an all-state quarterback, little-known fact, all-state quarterback in the state of Mississippi, as well, obviously, as all-state in basketball. So a fantastic athlete and really inspires this Florida team, and someone that I'm really looking forward to seeing match up tomorrow, because if I'm a betting man, and I'm not, but I have a feeling he's going to be guarding Nashville's Chaz Lanier, and it could cause some problems for Tennessee.
All right, up next, we go out of the SEC.
Oh, yes.
I knew George was going to love this, Billy. I knew it.
Kevin Willard and the
Kevin
Terps.
Willard and I go back a long ways
I
together.
knew it. Go ahead and tell the reasons why, George.
Well, when Ralph Willard was the head coach at Western Kentucky, I did a television package of theirs, and Ralph and I became very close. And Kevin, in one of those years, was a freshman on that team, and he comes up to me, total smart aleck, and says, "Is that a polo or a cheap Knights of the Round Table?" And I remember we were on the road somewhere flying back home, and I said to him, I said, "Look, I have to put up with your father's crap. I do not have to put up with yours. So get lost." But very good coach. The last time that I saw him, Mark, I told him, "If you're good at this, I weep for coaching future." He's done really good. They're on a roll.
They're on a roll. And it's my surprise team. I go through every week and look at teams that you sit there and go, wow, they're sitting at one of the top. I look at the top 35 and have played exceptionally well. And their record's a little deceiving because you look at a quad one and you go, well, they've got 4 losses. Well, what you don't see, their biggest loss was 6 points. Their 5 losses are combined 21 points. And he's had some success in the transfer portal. You'll get a kick out of this, George, speaking of Belmont.
Yeah,
with the Jacoby kid. Gillespie, is that how you pronounce his last name?
Jacoby Gillespie. Yeah.
From 2 years ago. Or was it last year? But last year. He's averaging almost 15 points a game for Maryland. And a name that I do want to leave with you is Derek Queen, was a McDonald's All-American. He's a freshman. And 15 points, 8 rebounds a game. Once again, it goes to show that in basketball, you get 1 to 2 key players, it can turn your program around in one season. And here's a prime example. I mean, good for Coach Willard. And what I didn't realize, just to add, to make you feel a little older, George, he started at Iona 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He was at 12 years at Seton Hall. I didn't realize he was there that long. And, of course, we don't get a lot of, people talking about Seton Hall down here in Tennessee as much, but he's definitely served his time. And to take on a Maryland program, when you think of people like Lefty Driesell, et cetera, has done a fantastic job. So his
father was a brilliant coach, took Western Kentucky to a Sweet 16 in 93. At the same time, Eddie Fogler was taking a Vandy team to the Sweet 16. Mark, I got to run. This was great stuff.
Thanks for having me.
Mark Griffin joining us here on the show after the break. If you love baseball, and I do, there is an event this weekend that you want to be a part of. Trust me. Stay tuned. This is 94.9 The Fan.
New year, new priorities. Family and safety come first. If a car or truck accident disrupts your life, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, experienced, and ready to fight for you. Call 615-242-9000. Happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join MNPD.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
Are you concerned about the Medicare Part D changes for 2025? Believe me, you're not alone. You need to contact Pancoast Benefits. They'll make the changes clear and easy to understand. Trust Pancoast to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancoast Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancoastbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3. Easy to understand. Trust Pancoast to guide you through it all. Their knowledgeable team is here to help you understand the updates and make informed decisions about your Medicare coverage. Don't navigate these changes alone. Call Pancoast Benefits today at 615-292-3400 and choose option 3, or visit pancoastbenefits.com. That's 615-292-3400 and choose option 3.
Jake Lyman. Commodore Women's Hoops is back inside Memorial on Sunday afternoon. Vandy welcomes Ole Miss to Nashville for their second meeting of the year. Pre-game starts at 1:45.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
That one's a lot to develop as we welcome all of you back. Man, we've already got Adam English, the Sounds general manager, ready and raring to go. He was in the on-deck circle listening to all that basketball stuff. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. And, you know, I'm an SEC basketball guy. I like it. I like it all.
Yeah, I know it. So, you know, I was thinking during the commercial of things about all the drives I've made to Lexington over the years. The Castle. Keeneland, Joe Bologna's.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Rupp Arena. And, man, tomorrow night, that place will be on electric whatever. Can you imagine what that'll be like?
It's going to be loud, especially for a 9 o'clock Eastern start. And, I know I think we saw Rick Pitino and Dick Vitale and some other well-respected people, kind of plead to Big Blue Nation to give Calipari his due. I don't know that that's going to happen. So
I'm not sure it is either.
I think there's a time and a place for that. And I think one day his name will be hanging in the rafters of Rupp Arena. Second winningest coach in the history of Kentucky basketball. But yeah, it should be interesting to see. Big game.
Do you know what happens 8 weeks from tonight?
Probably opening day.
Yep. Your opening day is 8 weeks from tonight, but you've got a big event. We've been blessed, by the way. This will be the third great baseball event in the last 3 weeks. We had Don Mattingly speak to the Old Timers Baseball Banquet. Fabulous. My buddy Buck Showalter spoke at Lipscomb University's Baseball Banquet last Saturday. And now we have the Soundcheck Fan Fest year 2. I was able to attend in year 1. It was really well done. And Adam, it looks to me like y'all have added to it.
We have. Last year we rolled the dice and held it at the stadium and just thought, well, we think we're going to, maybe we're lucky enough to get good weather, and we were. This year we decided not to roll the dice and decided to partner up with, one of our great partners here at the stadium and our neighbor right outside the stadium, Tailgate Brewery, except we're hosting it at their HQ on Charlotte Pike. We're so excited to this time of year. It's always a couple weeks before pitchers and catchers report. We're so excited to bring a couple of our players from last year's team in. Rick Sweet lives locally. He's so great. He's so great with the fans. And Tim Dillard, just an all-time sound, coming to this event to interact with our fans and get people excited about baseball season. Like you said, 8 weeks, it's right around the corner.
Boy, it is right around the corner. And I would tell anybody who's sitting here listening to this, and maybe they didn't know about it, and we're going to give you a way to figure out how to get involved here in a minute. Just simply the Q&A with Rick Sweet. That guy is a baseball encyclopedia.
Yes, he is. He's got great stories. I mean, he's second on the list of active managers in wins, 5th all-time in minor league baseball in wins. And man, just his stories are awesome. His interactions with players. And I mean, you can see from the way that our team's played the last few years, he knows how to manage winning baseball as well, which is fun.
Adam, you don't see it very often on the minor league level, but he has been a great ambassador for y'all.
He really has. Moving to Nashville, every year he decides what kind of amazing facial hair he's going to wear for the year. And he's so great with fans. He's so great with, with our program through Vanderbilt. We have an honorary player program. He really brings that, whoever we choose for that, into the team, and the team embraces him. And that's straight from the leadership there. Rick is awesome. He's been an absolute pleasure to work with for the last 3.5 years. And we're so excited that he can attend this event. He actually couldn't attend last year because he was down in Florida watching his son play. So this will be his first Soundcheck Fan Fest. And we're excited to have him here. I know the fans will be excited to see him.
You did this event in some other places you've been in the past, haven't you?
Yes, similar versions of this event. This one's unique. The timing and the incorporation of players is unique to this event because you've got to typically do it so early. And Nashville is also great because there are alumni and some players who kind of settle here in the off season, so there's more options. Now, Wes Clark and Chad Patrick are flying in for the event, which is awesome. But I've done different versions of this event where there's a time to get people excited for baseball being right around the corner. And the fact that we can include players is a huge win here in Nashville.
Oh, it's an absolute home run. And a year ago when you did it at the stadium, I thought was terrific. I got the chance to be there for a couple hours. The baseball fan in me got fired up. Tell me more about the Tailgate Brewery. And if a person is hearing about this for the first time, can they still get involved?
Yes, we've asked people to RSVP. You can go to our website and RSVP to come to the event. You don't need to RSVP to come. It's a free event. Just show up to Tailgate anytime between 12 and 3. There's programming all throughout that time. So there'll be Q&As with each of the players. They'll be available to sign autographs, as will Rick and Tim. Having Tim engaged with this team has been so fantastic. He's such a fan favorite. I mean, we inducted him into our Hall of Fame last year. I mean, he's just he does some work for the Brewers in the summer as well. But having him locally, and I mean, when you ask a guy to promote an event, man, does Tim Dillard bring it? I just seeing his videos make me laugh, and you can see. So you talk to him for 5 minutes, you know why fans love him, because he is who he is, and he connects with people, and he treats everybody the same way. And so it's really a unique group of guys that we have coming to this. We have a ton of raffle prizes as well. Experiences at the ballpark, all kinds of fun stuff. There'll be something for everybody at tailgate. And we're so excited to see our fans and interact with them. We miss them, in the off season, we miss seeing them. And so once baseball comes around, it's great to see some familiar faces, hopefully some new faces as well. And get people excited for the 10th anniversary of First Horizon Park.
Okay. Let's put you on the spot here for a minute. Billy,
oh boy.
He and I have had sort of this conversation before when it comes to UK basketball, because it is an incredibly special place. To do a game at Rupp, and oh, by the way, I'm 0 for 8, is an incredible deal. For you, give me 2 or 3 growing up there of your favorite Rupp Arena moments.
Number one's really easy. Number one is Rick Pitino's return to Rupp Arena as the head coach of Louisville basketball. That was a fun one. And then the other one that I was lucky enough to be at was the Tayshaun Prince 6-3s game. So just two opportunities to hear that building as loud and as glorious as it can be. And that, I mean, it just is a special place. Every time I go there, I get goosebumps. I could go there for the high school, the KHSAA high school tournament, state tournament, and get the same feeling. Like, it's just so special walking into that place.
I was in person for the A&M Kentucky game last year in Nashville at the SEC tournament, and that's different than Rupp. Still a ton of Kentucky fans, but it's
Rupp South.
So loud. I was like, I can't imagine what being inside Rupp Arena is like when this place is rocking.
There was a stretch in the Pitino game where we stole the ball, dunked it, stole the ball, hit a 3. He was arguing with the ref, almost got teed up, and I thought the roof was going to come down. It's awesome, and of course you got to love the Rupp Arena soft serve. So there's a lot to like about Rupp Arena. It's certainly close to my heart.
So a couple other things, Billy, and this will put a smile on Adam's face. What do you know of the story of Pitino wearing Wimp's coat the first time Wimp came to Rupp when Pitino was at Kentucky? You remember, you know where I'm going with this?
I don't know.
Okay, so Pitino, without anybody knowing it, got somebody, is the name of the place Daw Hairs?
Yes.
Okay. Great clothing store in Lexington. He gets somebody there to give him a plaid coat, a Wimp special. And he comes out of their side of Rupp Arena wearing that thing, and Wimp looks over and just bursts out laughing. Well, knowing Wimp the way I do, I'm sure as Pitino walked by, it was something like, what the hell are you doing?
You got to get every advantage you can get,
Here's one other one. And I want to say this would be at the dead ball timeout, either at 8 minutes left in the game or 4, when the Kentucky cheerleaders come out on the floor and they've got that guy at the top and they all twirl around and the place goes nuts. The band is playing whatever they're playing. The place goes nuts. And you're like, not every place is like this.
It's not. That's every game. That's always awesome. Everybody just gets up and screams. They're playing the music that gets everybody fired up. I'm excited to watch the game after we go to the Fan Fest tomorrow, and really is exciting. So it should be interesting to see.
Weather's good.
Yeah.
You've gotten all the rain out of here. Tell them about Tailgate Brewery one more time.
Yeah, sure. So Tailgate HQ on Charlotte Pike, 12 to 3. Come anytime. Come and go as you please. There's indoor, outdoor area. There'll be stuff for kids out there. There'll be stuff for everybody. A raffle, raising money for our foundation, which we put right back into the community. Community is such a huge part of what we do. Rick Sweet, Tim Dillard, Chad Patrick. By the way, Chad Patrick became the third player in the 100-year history of the International League to win the pitching triple crown, leading the league last year in wins, strikeouts, and ERA. And then Wes Clark's coming as well. So we're really excited. And Wes is a great teammate and a great person on our team as well. We're really excited to see our fans interact with fans and get fired up for some Sounds baseball in 2025.
I think it'll be great. Adam, thank you for taking the time to come on here.
George, always a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Talk to you.
All right.
Adam English is the general manager of the Nashville Sounds and may well be a Kentucky Hoops fan.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I love it. What I do love, it's not always fun when you're the visitor and you get your nose rubbed in it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But there is an appreciation for basketball in that community like nobody's business. It is the single, when you think about all the winning that UCLA did under John Wooden, it never really ignited the kind of passion that you feel at Kentucky. I mean, that the group, first of all, you've got a group in red over in Louisville that's every bit as passionate, but not as big. And you've got the rest of the state that's totally Kentucky.
Best basketball fan base in the country.
Yep.
I mean, they love the Cats. It's pretty fun to witness. I mean, even at Memorial, they had more fans than Vandy fans there, and they love it. They eat it up. And at the SEC tournament, they take it over.
They do.
I mean, every year.
They used to call it Catlanta. Catlanta when the thing was in when it was in Atlanta, and now I guess what is it? Lexington South.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But they really do eat, sleep, and breathe.
Oh my
Kentucky
God.
hoops.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And I would think, look, over the years, that's been hard for Kentucky football.
They've always been the afterthought.
Yeah. Where normally a football program is the king and the basketball
you
plays
think about
second fiddle.
Kentucky football, just compared to basketball, it just feels so bland, and there's not a whole lot of attractiveness there.
No, but there has been. I mean, look, Stoops, it's gotten a little tougher the last couple of years, but Stoops has done a hell of a job.
He
there.
has.
Okay, we'll go to the break, and then we'll just simply open it up for the final segment of the show. I want some phone calls. I don't care what you get into as long as it's sports at 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. I'll throw it back out there, and this is a joke from years gone by. On days where I wouldn't get a lot of phone calls, it just hit me one day to say, if you don't call, we will send Greg Ruff to your home. I remember, and we were like, if Greg attacks your you don't want that. You do not want that. So I'll put it out there again. Yeah, you call 615-553-0933. Let's get some phones hopping. This is 94.9 The Fan.
As we step into the new year, there's nothing more important than family and safety. If a car wreck or big truck accident turns your world upside down, Bart Durham Injury Law is here to help. We're local, we're experienced, and we're ready to fight for what you deserve. Call us anytime at 615-242-9000. Really wishing you a safe and happy 2025 from Bart Durham Injury Law.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Singular performances.
Sports. Did he not go back into the game after that interception?
Let's get this turned around. And we're all saying, no, they don't. Here.
You thought you were on your way.
Your sports live here.
ESPN 94.9.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are in on that Friday afternoon. George Plaster, Billy Derrick with you from the Ford Ice Center in Bellevue. Let's go to some phone calls. Frank in Smyrna. Frank, I'm told you met my buddy Paul Kennedy last night.
George, Billy, good
Frank?
afternoon from Tampa, Florida, actually.
Beautiful.
Yes, I met your friend Paul Kennedy last night. You know what? First of all, I called him Mr. Kennedy. He kind of
didn't like that.
He corrected me real quick and said he was not having that, and I was to call him Paul. And I said, yes, sir. And he said, don't call me sir. Okay. So we talked, and I asked him, what is going on with the Tampa Bay Rays? And he said, well, you tell me. I said, what do you mean you tell me? And he goes, do you really think they're going to Nashville? And I said, Paul, you and George may need to have a conversation. And he said, is there a park up there they could play? And I told him about the Sound Ballpark, for lack of a better term. I can't think of the name of it. Is it First Horizon?
Yeah.
Thank you. I know that's awful. Being from Nashville, I know that's terrible for me not to know. But anyway, I said yes. And I said, I think it can work. They're going to make it work there. I think it can work. I said, Paul, the Oakland Athletics have tripped the trigger. I said, oh, this, and I think the Rays can make that work for a couple of years until the ballpark's built in Nashville. He looked at me and said, well, I guess you haven't seen the latest article in the Orlando Sentinel. And I said, what is that, Paul? And he told me that Barry Larkin was involved in a group trying to get the Rays to relocate from Tampa or St. Pete rather to Orlando. And he goes, otherwise, I know nothing. And he made that clear. Otherwise, I know nothing. So
and apparently I know nothing. I had not heard the Barry Larkin thing. Orlando makes sense.
That either.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no for me. I get that, but I don't know. It was just weird. It just kind of floored me when he said Orlando, and I'm like, okay, I get that, but I don't get that. But anyway, it was just great to meet him, great to talk to him, and he finally even just said, listen, Frank, I don't mean to cut this short, but before I get yelled at, I got to go.
So he basically said, I hate to do this, but I got to run.
Essentially. And George, I got to tell you one other thing. And my wife was wearing one of those George Plaster celebrity bowling shirts last night.
Priceless heirloom.
He immediately noticed that.
Billy, you have a problem with the shirt?
That's ridiculous.
Oh, no, it's not ridiculous. I think it's cool.
Kelly would not be having it right now.
To hell with Kelly.
Surprised.
Yeah, to hell with Kelly.
I said, George, Billy, I looked at him. I said, Paul, do you have one of these shirts? He goes, George sent me a couple of these shirts.
I
He did. He goes, he said, this is unbelievable. He said, I can't believe what I'm looking at. I think he was really floored to meet someone from Nashville. And
I love it.
I was wearing a Predators pullover, and I told him flat out, I said, Paul, it's been a bad year for the Preds. I'm upset. I royally PO'd. I'll clean it up. Being on radio, I said, I'm royally PO'd. I said, I want to see what a winner looks like. So here I am. Yeah,
I hate but I got to run.
Understand, George. Have a great weekend, man. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
You as well. Let's go to Brentwood. Tyron, you are on 94.9 The Fan.
My man George, the icon, the legend. How do you do, sir? Always honored to talk to you, man.
I don't think Billy fully appreciates that.
Well, I mean, you're an icon, man. I always have been. But I want to get to a question, y'all. I couldn't get through yesterday. I was working. I want to get to yesterday because there was this talk about Calipari as the games passed him by. What's going on? Let me tell you what's going on. And this goes back to the old coach that's retired right now. And what ended, and John Calipari's done. He's done. He's not going to ever win a championship again or make a Final Four again. Kentucky realized that. He realized that. That's why he got it in and went to Arkansas. I get the long leash. Arkansas is going to realize real quick, yeah, he doesn't have it no more. But what hurt John Calipari was when he called out Coach K about a decade ago. I remember when Coach K would not touch the one and done. He was against it. And then he won it in 2010 when everybody thought Kentucky would. And actually Duke did by beating the team to beat Kentucky. And then from that point on, Mike Krzyzewski went to the one and done. And we can look at the record, but from 2015 on, he undressed Calipari in recruiting. And he was getting all the top players that probably would have went to Kentucky had Coach K not, start going to the one and done. So, Calipari, you talk about I can get whoever I want, recruiting this, recruiting that. Now, when Mike Krzyzewski went to the one and done, that's what ended John Calipari. He didn't win it in 2010 when he had a juggernaut. It was Duke that won it. He didn't win it in 2015 when they were undefeated. And guess who won it? That's right, yours truly, Mike Krzyzewski. When Mike Krzyzewski went to the one and done, that ended Calipari. He died a slow death in Kentucky, and in sports terms, it's going to continue. He done it to himself because he called out the second greatest coach ever, other than John Wooden. And when K went to the one and done, sayonara Calipari, and that's what happened, people. And I'm amazed he did it, but you can just check the records. Calipari, when Coach K went to the one and done, that was the end of him. Ended it because everybody started going to Duke, and hey, it's all about Durham and Duke. And the one more thing for go George, hey, Duke will win the title this year. Mark my words. They beat Auburn once, and they can do it again.
Hey, thank you for the call. Stop there. Appreciate it. You know what? They might. Cooper Flag. You talk about just give him the ball at the top of the key and let him go. He's got some skills.
It's either him or Janai Broom.
Well, he doesn't
player
play,
of the year.
He doesn't play like a freshman, does he?
No.
Jeff in Murfreesboro, you're up next.
How's it going, George?
Good.
I just want to say, after that little bash with Calipari, he is going to come back tomorrow up. He's doing a walkthrough tonight in there with his players. So, I'm hoping he gets a rousing deal. He probably won't. Some people's going to boo him, and like I said, he's used to it. It's not going to bother him. He's used to being booed, so it don't bother him any. But like he said, he was there 15 years, and him and his wife enjoyed it, and he gave Kentucky a national championship. And he gave him 4 Final Fours. So he's a Hall of Famer. He's in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what he does. He can leave tomorrow, and his legacy's secure. You don't have to worry about it. He don't. I mean, wow, I wonder where Coach K's at today. What's he going to do? I mean, he's retired, isn't he? He said goodbye. That's what he did. After one of those, like Boy Williams, said goodbye. When that guy.
What? What is he, 77?
That guy, talking about Coach K, he ain't coached no more. He's done. And the other guy, the Duke, when they play the Champions Classic, I bet that, what's his name, Shire, the coach over there, I bet he called him Coach K, or he's watching Atlanta. Can you help me? Ain't helping you now, Dave, because Pope beat you that night. Cooper, Fanny Flag couldn't handle the ball with about 2 seconds left to go in November. Couldn't handle it. Turnover, Kentucky ball, Kentucky wins in Atlanta, November. Okay, I ain't worried about what he's doing now. They ain't playing nobody anyway. ACC is not as good as SEC right now. But SEC has to prove it in March. And so, I know that Coach K won more titles than, Cal has, and that's okay, and more games and all that. He got 1,000 wins, but Gino and Tara Vanderveer passed him. They're really all-time winningest coaches, not him. So, so I wonder where he's at today. Why isn't he still coaching?
Because he's 77. What do you think?
He's an old man. He got out. He's an old man. He's like Roy Williams, an old man.
Is that some sin?
No, he said Calipari's Coach K's so great. Why isn't he still coaching? See, Calipari's 65.
For God's sake.
He's going to handle transfer portal. Williams and Coach K couldn't do it. They couldn't handle it. But Coach Cal.
He gets to 77. What do you expect him to do?
Who to do?
What do you expect him to do? 77 years old. How many 77-year-old coaches are out there?
Well, I don't know. But, I know he's not one of them. So,
okay, you act like that's some sort of a bad mark on him. Anyway.
I'm sorry. He's so great. He's supposed to be this great next to Wooden. Of course, Wooden cheated too. After he retired, everybody found it out. When he won 10 out of 12 years, everybody found he cheated too.
Nobody in Kentucky needs to be talking about cheating. Okay, because you've had a program over the years that's done plenty of it.
Show calls. The Cal has none, George. No show causes.
Yeah, he's had 2 banners removed. He's had 2 banners removed from the top of buildings. That just happened for no reason.
I didn't know that, did he? Okay, I didn't know that. He's taking 3 schools to Final Four, though.
I'm well aware of that.
Get them banners. We all know who won it. We all know who went to Final Four. We don't need them banners. We all know who went. Don't matter.
Okay, I got to run. Mike in Melrose, help me.
I don't know if I can top that. Just a couple things real quick. Oklahoma does have 3 good wins out of conference. They beat Arizona, Michigan, and Louisville. Now Louisville's won about 10 in a row, so they are one of the ACC right now. Probably has 4 teams. You got Duke, Louisville, Clemson, and I think SMU probably are 4 that going to make the tournament. Other than that, they're not much of a basketball conference this year. But yeah, you are right about Calipari. He's had some banners removed.
Yeah, he had one removed at UMass, had one removed in Memphis. And so, look.
He's not real big on players graduating. He's more about getting guys to go pro and even his fan base. That's one reason his fan base, because he was more about those guys making NBA and not winning, putting up a national title banners. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, listen, thank you. My guess is, Billy, that the reception will not be good at the beginning when the PA guy says, and Arkansas is coached by John Calipari. I think at that moment, it'll be kind of ugly. But as it starts to fade, you'll hear a little more applause, a little more, you won a national title here. Now, the one area Jeff is right is that Calipari is a Hall of Fame coach, whether you like him or not. And I don't like him. I don't have a lot of use for him. But this whole, why isn't Krzyzewski competing? For God's sakes, he's 77 years old. I mean, he's earned the right to call it a career. Now, did he get out at 74 because he didn't like the landscape? That's what I think. Is that a black mark on him? I don't think so.
And he played in the national title.
But, if you're trying to think with Jeff, God bless you.
Yeah.
We'll go to the break. Plaster Bet of the Day is coming up.
Where can you see a saber-toothed tiger rappel from the rafters? How about a catfish fly? The biggest stars in Music City. Not to mention hockey's hottest ticket. The Predators win! Only in Smashville. See your Nashville Predators all season long at Bridgestone Arena. Single game tickets are on sale now at NashvillePredators.com. Let's go, Preds!
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Final segment on a Friday, big slate of SEC hoops. We'll see where George is going. We got some games tonight, a lot of games tomorrow, of course. First, take a look at Bet of the Day results brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law from last night. Penn State did not come through.
No, they got beat by 21. It was embarrassing. Okay, so tonight, Mike Woodson, I think, is in trouble at Indiana. They go to Purdue. This is not a great thing for them. They're not going to win in West Lafayette. I do think they're going to cover the 12. If I had to right off the bat pick one more that's out there, I would take Tennessee tomorrow -3.5 at home against Florida. We done?
Done.
Done. See you Monday. Have a good weekend.